Hello there, it's Belinda Weaver here, copywriter, copy coach, and each week I'm going live answering a question, sharing a challenge, my thoughts on that, and on copywriting in general. This week I'm talking about pricing, but not really about pricing. A question came up in my Confident Copywriting group about whether or not we should put our prices on our website. And there are pros and cons to this because when I personally go looking for a service provider, I want to know if it's a $10,000 investment or a $1,000 investment. It changes the conversation quite dramatically. And when I have no idea, I'm more likely to keep looking because it brings up feelings of uncertainty for me. Because if I find out it's a $10,000 investment and I have to say no to that, there are lots of feelings involved. I feel a little bit embarrassed that I can't afford it or I don't want to afford it. It's a little awkward to say no, especially after someone's gone to the trouble of creating a proposal and things like that. So there's a lot going on. When you have your copywriting prices on your website, you can do things like have a starting from range. You can even have like a starting from price or even a range. A starting from price at least gives you an anchor point for your own pricing. And the other thing you can do is ask for your prospective client's budget in your contact form. Now, a lot of clients don't know their budget. And so that's where on your contact form, having some ranges can help because everyone knows what their budget is not. When you see a number, you know if it's outside your budget. And so when you're putting your prices on your website, having a starting from can give you an anchor that turns away immediately the people who are just hell no, no way, I need someone a lot cheaper than that. Because you don't want to spend time having conversations with those people when there are just a flat out no way, no. But here's the thing, and this is what I wanted to get to. When you have a starting at point, there will be a lot of people who are like, that's more than I wanted to pay. And they're the people you still want to talk to. So how do you still connect with those kind of people? Because here's the thing, we all want to pay less. We all want it to cost less. But when something is a good investment, we will prioritize that investment in our budget. We will find the money. Now, I never want to ask someone to put themselves in financial hardship. That's not what I'm talking about. I'm talking about looking at a number and experiencing the feelings that it feels high, but also knowing that it is worth every penny and knowing that it will provide a strong return on investment in your business. That's the feeling we want people to have. As a minimum, it's either, yes, that's absolutely in my budget, let's do this, or even though it feels a little high, this feels like a good investment. That's the setup I wanted to talk about in today's Facebook Live because those people are still worth engaging with and talking to. And actually, the number doesn't matter. Whether you're saying, I have a 10K minimum on my projects, or you're saying a small business website starts at $1,500. The number's not important. It's actually what you put around the number to make sure that someone can look at that number and go, that feels like a good investment. That feels like a solid, credible, valuable investment for my business. So we're looking at this not from a money mindset point of view, but from a copywriting point of view. And when you're putting some numbers in your marketing or you're writing copy for your clients, you want to think about all the things that happen around seeing a number. Now, I mentioned some of them at the beginning of this chat, like there's a lot of money mindset stuff. There's a lot of shame. There's a lot of embarrassment. There's a lot of, uncertainty around seeing a number. And we want to kind of let that hot air out of the marketing piece. But we've got to be realistic and acknowledge that it is happening. And, how we can do that is in a few ways. We can do some kind of clever copywriting around the number, like we can break it down into smaller amounts. When you're spending money, break the money down into a daily investment, for example. If you are saving money, time, stress, roll it up into a much bigger amount. So spending, unpack it into a smaller unit, saving, roll it up into a bigger unit. So that's something you can do. But the other things is about making sure it's a credible, valuable investment. And that is making sure that there is a lot of proof in and around the numbers, but also throughout the marketing consistently. So proof. Explaining your process. Making sure that someone can see that when they put their money down, that they will be guided by an expert through a solid, proven, reliable process that delivers the outcomes that they want. Okay? So there's proof, there's process, there's being really clear on things like scope and inclusions, because I want to know what I'm going to get for my money, right? I also want to know what the experience is going to be like. So that's the process, the scope and inclusions, a butt ton of proof. But then tapping into the experience a little bit more, before you even present a formal proposal to a client, there are lots of engagement points. And you want to make sure that you are offering a premium experience to every single person you talk to. That means listening, asking questions, replaying back their answers, being thoughtful, doing a little bit of research, giving people the space and time. And that can be difficult when we are busy and we are also trying to streamline our process. But the higher your packages are, the higher the services are, the more sticker shock there is around the numbers. And that's when the process, the proof, the inclusions, and the experience is what you need to pay attention to. So everything that goes around the number is what you need to think about. If you're charging premium rates, each of those things needs to be at a premium level. So you're offering a premium experience that is worth every penny. But don't underestimate that power of inclusions and process, because I want to know how it's going to work and what I'm going to get. And when you put all those things together, someone can look at that number and go, yes, it is high. It is a big number. But now I'm looking at the big picture. I can see that it's worth every penny. Now, what I'm going back to is this is not tricking people into investing more than they can afford, but it's just understanding the reaction people have to seeing dollar values. Some people will go, nope, not for me. And that is 100% fine. But if you want people to say yes, you need to present that number as a valuable investment. And you can do it using the things that I've mentioned. These are copywriting techniques. These are marketing techniques that you can apply in your own service delivery and in your own marketing to reduce the sticker shock from the number and make sure that leads coming to you that you're spending time with on a phone call, on a discovery call, that you're putting a beautiful proposal together for, they are qualified, they understand what they're getting in for, and they are much more informed during that whole process. That is how you get people to say yes. I hope you found this a useful little video. It's been on my mind since we had that question in Confident Copywriting. If you have questions, let me know. Drop them in the comments and I'll put them in the list for the Friday Live. My name's Belinda Weaver. I'm a copy coach and I'll see you back here next week.